Hello and welcome to Odds on Serie A Matchday 38, last match day in Italy with a lot of things to be decided. The last spot in the relegation, the European spots, and congratulations to Italy. You have a new European champions, first ever European trophy for Atalanta, for Giampiero Gasperini, Daniele Fisichella.
Ciao Edo, totally deserved. What a game, what a performance from Atalanta, from Ademola Lookman, from Scamacca, from Gasperini's men. They demonstrated you can win by playing well, by working hard, by doing the right things. They were not favorite, but they like that. They relished the challenge as underdog, and they stand by Leverkusen. They're going to be in the Champions League next season, and maybe Italy could have 6 teams in the Champions League next season. It all depends on Atalanta. We're going to talk this a little bit more later on. There's a lot of permutation, a lot of fascinating combination, of course, also for the relegation. Match day 38, here we go.
Exactly. Well, Danny has the calculator with him, so he is gonna tell you exactly what to expect in this last match day. And remember, guys, as always in our last video, even more, tell us your comments, your thoughts about the Serie A, and tell your friends, of course, subscribe to our channel. And now let's go on with the show. Well, Danny, first game is going to be played on Thursday, actually.
Tonight,
yeah, we are doing this video on Thursday. Cagliari, Fiorentina, because the Viola need to prepare to get ready for the conference final against Olympiacos in Athens. Next week, we will have a video, by the way, about this final, and they can also finish 8th in the table and qualify for the conference next season in case they lose the game in Athens. We are seeing a lot of goals lately in Fiorentina games, Danny, and I also want to highlight here a person that you know I really like. Claudio Ranieri, the professor, brought back Cagliari to Serie A. The board had patience with him in the worst moments this season, and they are safe thanks to the win in Sassuolo.
And he will retire at the end of the season. That's what he announced. 76 years old after 38 years managing. A man that has gone through 4 decades of football. Everything has changed in football. When he started managing football, players probably barely had mobile phones. Now we are in the eras of social media, TikTok, Instagram, and whatever. Ranieri has changed, but also remained the same, a very honest person with a great relationship with his players as well, a manager that has gone all over the world and returned to Cagliari, a place where he achieved salvation over 30 years ago and did it in great fashion. This Cagliari side, 25 points at home this season, really strong home form. They won at the weekend against Sassuolo, and now it's going to be a party. Very few people tipped them to be safe, to be fair, considering how difficult it was to get promoted via the playoff. And now against Fiorentina asked the Italian FA to have as much rest as possible before the final in Athens. I've been to Athens last week. I can tell you the environment is going to be very hot for Fiorentina. First ever major final for a Greek club, Olympiacos. Fiorentina, you're right, they are finding it easier to score goals. All the last 5 games, there have been 2 goals or more, a lot of both teams to score. Cagliari, on the other hand, never kept a clean sheet at home this season. All the wins have been at least with a goal conceded, so all the wins have been over 2.5 goals. But yeah, they were patient with Ranieri. The first victory only came in mid-October. Very difficult start of the season. Fiorentina might need at least a point to finish 8th, although they have still a game in hand, which is going to be played on the 3rd of June against Atalanta. We'll go into a moment. I don't think Cagliari are going to lose this one. There are going to be a lot of changes for Fiorentina. Asian handicap, plus 0.75 for Cagliari, 193. If Cagliari loses by just 1 goal margin, you only lose half a stake.
Great season for both teams, I would say, with another European final for Fiorentina. Safe Cagliari, the same we can say about the teams playing on Friday. Genoa, Bologna. Genoa also newly promoted team, mid-table, great numbers for them. What to say about Bologna? They can even finish third this season in Serie A. They are going to play Champions League for the first time ever, and they took a 3-0 lead last weekend against Juventus. At the end, they drew. Danny, what is going to happen with Thiago Motta, by the way?
He's going to be the new manager of Juventus. It's going to be sealed, done, confirmed in the next few hours. We know that after Allegri sacking, Juventus always had Motta in the mind, and Motta, never made a secret. He wants to take the big jump, the big leap. It's going to be an important move for him. He's been exceptional in the year and a half has been at Bologna, transformed the side into a proactive, attacking, composed side as well, and very, very exciting. They were 3-0 up against Juve on Monday. They took the foot of the gas just a little bit, and then Juventus' pride and reaction came out. It was a game that had nothing at stake for both clubs. So is this one at Marassi, but certainly both they want to finish the season on a high. Let's not underestimate Genoa, a team that has given top teams in Italy a hard time constantly. They were defeated by Roma 1-0, had chances to equalize. It was a good season also for Alberto Gilardino. But yes, let's see who's going to be the next Bologna manager. Some people say Maurizio Sarri would be a good fit for Genoa. They stay with Gilardino. I think, yes, confirming the position in Serie A has been a great achievement. Both teams to score. That's a Friday game. Pace to, as I said, probably, typical end of the season game with maybe plenty of goals. It could be a 2-1 win for Genoa. But, Genoa, for Bologna, is important to finish third, or at least in the top four, because, and now we touch a little bit on Atalanta, Italy are going to have 6 teams in the next season Champions League only if Atalanta finishes fifth. If Atalanta finishes in the top 4, then Italy are going to have 5 teams. So the Roma fans are going to support Bologna, are going to support Juventus this weekend, and are going to support Torino for sure. But the Genoa, Bologna, both to score for me. That pays too.
Well, next game is Juve, Monza. Roma will support Juventus, even if
for the first time, yes,
beating any club apart from the Coppa Italia final. A lot of news around Juve, Danny. You mentioned the new manager because Max Allegri was sacked after winning the Coppa Italia. You will tell us all the incidents now, but the season, even if they qualified for the Champions League, the title in the Coppa is very important, of course, but in Serie A, 18 wins, 19 non-wins, which I don't think this is positive for a club like Juventus, to be honest.
Only 1 win, only 2 wins in the last 16 Serie A games, 6 consecutive draws, including the one on Monday at Bologna, where they showed a good reaction. And, at some point, Bologna could have been 3 or 4-0, 5-0, really. Then, the reaction of nerves of Juventus, which shows you, they obviously have the players, they only have the quality, because, the goal that Ildiz scored, the one that Milik scored, they're not easy goals to score. You need to have the technical qualities really to perform those skills. They haven't been as good as everyone expected this season. They done the job on Atalanta on the Coppa Italia final, but I thought Atalanta were going to always struggle against a team like Juventus, happy to sit back, not give them space, not pushing defenders forward. Whereas with Bayer Leverkusen, who's taking many more risks, it was probably a game Atalanta had more chances, and he demonstrated. But going back to Juventus, Motta's going to be the new manager. This is the last game of the season. It's been a disappointing season. They're going to finish with less points in the table compared to last year. And this year, they didn't play in Europe. So that already tells you the story. They can finish 4th, they can finish 3rd, they can finish 5th. It's been disappointing. They need a big overhaul. They need to spend some money to give Motta a chance to compete to the top. This team, as it is not Scudetto material just yet. Monza, on the other hand, winless in 8 games. That's the worst ever streak. They are fighting, but you can tell that, with no motivations, with no real objective, it's hard sometimes to push yourself and, to go beyond your limits. I think probably Juventus are going to win this one. Eventually, they might win it, but they probably going to win it by a low margin. Monza, Asian handicap plus 175. How good is that? 173. That means if Juve wins 2-0, so with 2 goals margin, which hasn't happened recently and a lot, you win, you only lose half a stake. A draw, a win for Juve just 1-0 or 2-1, and you win the full stake, 173.
Only 52 goals scored this season for Juve. This is a really low tally, the lowest in the top 6 teams. So struggling to score goals. I wouldn't like Juventus season if I was a Juve fan, but yeah, they got a trophy. And on Saturday, Danny, Milan Salernitana, last game for Pioli. Salernitana relegated weeks ago. I guess it's going to be a farewell for so many people. Perhaps also a disappointing season for Milan. Who is going to be the next manager?
Well, we still don't know. A few names. De Zerbi, maybe, if he doesn't go to Chelsea. Paulo Fonseca, although I'm not sure the fans will be extremely happy about him. And then there is another cast of names. Even Pochettino has been linked with Milan, but I think it's far too expensive, really, for Milan, really. That's what Pochettino want to go into another rebuild. It's a bit up in the air. Should be confirmed maybe in the next 10 days. Surely not Pioli, of course. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, Danny, and for this game, I guess it's very difficult to place bets, to be honest.
Yeah, very difficult considering who's playing, and the fourth is second in the table against bottom in the table. Milan defeated by Turin, still a decent season, I would say. They were competitive. The new signings didn't quite click as they should, but they are young players. Give them a little bit of time. In the last few home games have been all over 2.5 goals for Milan. They scored 5 against Cagliari. Yeah, there is no reason to believe they're not going to finish the season on a high. Salernitana, no wins since the 30th of December, never managed to get 2 consecutive good results in a row. Asian handicap -2 for Milan, plays 184. It has paid off in a couple of occasions at home. Again, if they only win 2-0 or 3-1, you get your money back, but it could be 5-0.
Do you think Leao and Theo are going to stay?
I think Leao is staying. I don't think he's got such a big market, to be fair. Around Europe, unless PSG wants to make a move for him to replace Mbappe. But I think he's still not seen as the finished article. With Theo, I might have some doubts, but at the end of the day, Milan are not necessarily in the position they need to sell. They have money, they are financially stable. So let's see what happens. But yeah, if anything, they'll have to strengthen the defense this time. This time around, the defense has got so many goals, especially away from home. I think they got the 4th worst defense away from home. But anyway, for this game, I'm San Siro. It should be a party atmosphere. They want to win it. They win it easily. Salernitana, I mean, obviously, I'm not a match for them. Yeah, -2 on the Asian handicap.
Well, and then the things that matter, Danny. On Sunday, Atalanta Torino, a party, of course, in Bergamo, in Stadio Azzurri di Italia, after winning the first European trophy, only the second trophy in their history. What Gasperini is achieving with this club is amazing. They are qualified also for the Champions League. And as you said, this opened the possibility for Roma to go to the Champions League, even if the Rossi's team finished 6th. But also, this game is important for Torino because they have a chance to finish 8th and to play European football next season.
Yes, so they will return to the Conference League or to European competition if they manage to win here, or if they manage to avoid defeats and Napoli doesn't win. So there are a few combinations here for the Granada to make it. It will be important for them because it will represent a step forward, a step in the right direction for a team that has finished 10th in the last 2 consecutive seasons. And lately, towards the end of the season, they even managed to win away, score a few more goals than would normally do. And this is a big chance for them against a team that has been magnificent in midweek. They celebrated the first ever major trophy, not only for them, but also for Gasperini. Gasperini never won anything, and I think he deserved a recognition for his amazing work. So Torino can go to Atalanta, knowing that Atalanta got nothing to play for, and hope to get at least a point or 2 points. They really need to win here because I believe Napoli will beat Lecce and that will be pretty much the result. So they do need to win here. It's not difficult. I mean, it's hard to win at Atalanta in this moment. Atalanta have done really well since March. They've only lost 2 games, but at the moment, Torino are the bookies' favorites. Sometimes when the bookie look at these games, they put motivation. They give motivation a lot of importance. I mean, I don't think the motivation makes Atalanta's players weaker than what they are, but it's true that they don't necessarily need to win. On the other hand, there is the complexity of this 4th place finish, 5th place finish for Atalanta. If Atalanta finish 5th, Italy going to have 6 teams in Champions League. However, if there are 6 teams in the Champions League next year, the prize money for each team is going to be slightly less. So they're going to divide the prize money that goes to Italian teams and be less. So there are also some financial implications. Now, I'm not sure how less is it going to be, but yeah, you know, imagine you got a big cake and you need to divide it for 5, and out of a sudden someone else comes and says, okay, let's divide this big cake for 6. Some people would say, I don't mind. Some people are more greedy than others, but you know, no matter what happens, we also have to think about the professionality, and we cannot question the professionality of Atalanta. If Atalanta gives the game to Torino, Napoli could complain, of course, because they want to finish in the Conference League. Depends, do they want to finish in the Conference League? You know, there are a lot of theories about this, but you know, they might want to play in Europe, of course. Also, Atalanta got another game on the 3rd of June against Fiorentina, which can give them the opportunity to finish 4th, to finish 3rd, whatever. So, again, this is not a must-win game for Atalanta if they really want to finish in the top 4. Having said that, probably the most difficult game to pick of the weekend. I'm going to stay away from 1x2. Both teams to score 181.
Maybe it's a draw. Could be a good option.
It could be a draw.
The draw. Next game, you mentioned Napoli. Lecce is the last one. Napoli still, as you said, with options to go to Europe, but the numbers, to be honest, for Calzona are so poor. It's 6 winless games, only 1 win since the knockout in the Champions League. I guess he's focused now on the Euros. Lecce, Danny, absolutely safe. What can we expect? Because, to be honest, I wouldn't touch Napoli with these odds.
No, and neither would I, because they've been so disappointing at home this season. Only 24 points, less than Cagliari, less than Frosinone, same points tally as Monza at the Maradona. And they haven't kept a clean sheet since mid-January. That's 18 games in all competitions. They keep conceding goals. They might still be without Victor Osimhen. And this is really the curtain on a season that has been so difficult, so bad, so many changes, and they never seem to get it right. Probably they should have stuck with Rudy Garcia, you know, and see how it go. I don't think they would have done. He would have done worse than what Mazzarri and Calzona are doing. To be fair, I don't even understand what Calzona has changed into this team. Good luck to Slovakia these Euros, because Calzona is still the manager of Slovakia. You know, how much has he worked on his national team during this month? It's been difficult for him as well. Certainly, he hasn't improved his credibility as a manager. I think he remains a good manager, but yeah, difficult group of players to manage. Lecce, on the other hand, since they got saved, 2 defeats, both 2-0 at home. Be disappointing for them, really, to be defeated by Udinese and Atalanta. But I think this goal drought for Lecce is going to end. It is a team that always plays very organized, plays with 3 up front. They're going to go to Napoli on the last game of the season, fancying their chances. Napoli, on the other hand, if they want to finish in the Conference League, need to win. I don't think the 1-0 win will be enough for Napoli, which always prone to concede. Again, a tough one to call. Maybe there's an upset here. Maybe there is a Lecce win. Who knows? Over 2.75 goals, 175, only 3 goals in the game. You win alpha stake.
I wouldn't be surprised if Lecce takes
no
points. That's for sure. What a season for Napoli, especially at the Maradona. Away they were okay, but at the Maradona they are 13th in the table. 6 draws, 6 defeats. Horrible season for them.
And maybe next manager might be Gasperini. That's the rumors. He could go to Napoli, or it could be Stefano Pioli from Milan. Anyway, there's going to be a big rebuild. No Osimhen next season. Probably Jonathan David coming in from Lille. Again, a big overhaul. And a big question for Napoli was, Spalletti took the best out of those players, and now they regress to their mean. So what those players like Di Lorenzo, Mario Rui, Lobotka, Anguissa have done under Spalletti was not you cannot duplicate it. Yeah, and taking Spalletti out of the equation was the big mistake.
I could understand Pioli, of course, he's without a job, but Gasperini from playing the Champions League.
Well, after 8 years in Bergamo, finishing with a trophy, Napoli could be seen as a step forward. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, let's talk about the relegation battle. Empoli-Roma is the first game. Empoli right now in the bottom 3, but they depend on themselves. If they win, they are gonna get safe because we have a direct clash between Frosinone and Udinese. Dani, Roma, they are 6th. They will finish 6th in the table, so that's why we see Empoli as favorites here.
They are, but this is a weird one, really. We're talking about the 6 in the table against the 3rd from bottom. Yet the bookies think Empoli, who have got the worst home attack of Serie A, only 8 goals, or only 8 wins, 27 goals scored, worst attack in Serie A, worst attack at home in Serie A. Favorite against Roma were only 3 points behind Atalanta. Of course, they cannot catch them due to the head-to-head. Why is that? Because sometimes, as I said, bookmakers put motivations, the motivation factor above all. But do motivation make Empoli players better than the Roma players? I don't think so. Do motivation make Empoli a goal machine at home against Roma? Not really. Yes, it's true they recently beat Torino and Napoli, but I think it's unlikely for Empoli, who's in such a bad form, such a bad run. They only scored 1 goal in the last 5, if I believe, to win this game. Now, the permutations are very simple, as you mentioned. If Empoli wins, they are saved. If they draw and Udinese loses against Frosinone, we do have a tie-break. We do have a playoff for avoiding relegation, as we had last season. Frosinone, if they draw and Empoli wins, they finish bottom level on point, and of course Udinese goes down. Now Roma, as we mentioned, they're gonna support Torino, they're gonna support Juventus, they're gonna support Bologna, so it's out of their hands. They cannot finish 7th because of the head-to-head against Lazio, and if they end up in the Champions League, amazing. I don't believe they're going to lose this game at Empoli, really. This is probably the one you have to put your money on. Empoli-Roma, double chance X2, 188. I can't see Empoli staying up unless they win a playoff against Udinese.
Okay, so you see Empoli going down, but in the next game, we have Frosinone-Udinese, both teams can get relegated. The best part is for Frosinone because they were able to beat Monza 1-0 the previous weekend. So for a draw, they can pay for the draw and they will get safe. Only 1 defeat in the last 8 games was against Inter Milan. For Udinese, that is a must win if Empoli wins. No defeats in the last 4. They can go down with a draw, and we've seen 19 draws for Frosinone, for Udinese this season. So perhaps they draw again, and even with this result, they go down.
Probably. I think with a draw, it's, well, depend on Empoli, really. But if Empoli takes the lead early against Roma, this Frosinone-Udinese game could go crazy. They could become over 2.5 goals, both teams to score. Otherwise, I think caution is going to prevail here. They know that the draw could be enough. They know that Empoli got a difficult game in hand. Udinese under Cannavaro, it seemed a risky strategy to hire him. So little experience managing, but they are unbeaten in the last 4 with him. Managed to win 1 against Lecce. All the games have been under 2.5 goals. It was almost a miracle they rescued a point against Empoli in the 114th minute with Samardzic, the latest goal ever scored in Serie A for the last 20 years. But at least what Cannavaro has done is kind of pushed a reaction out of these players that for too long they've been considered too good to go down. And that's really dangerous in football. When people think, oh, that team is too good, they're not going to go down. Look at what happened to Sampdoria last season. They finished bottom. And it could happen to Udinese. That would be the first relegation in 31 years for a team that has got players that, we're gonna go at the Euros. They got players play regulars in the national team. Even have a World Cup winner in Tuavan. So yes, really, it will be disappointing for them. Frosinone, on the other hand, difficult to judge because they got the 10th best attack of Serie A, the 3rd worst defense. They finally managed to win a game away from home against Monza, 1-0, keeping it tight. They kept 5 clean sheets in the last 6, and a 5-0 defeat against Inter is a bit deceptive, the scoreline. They deserve to score at least a couple of goals. Now, if Frosinone gets saved, they're probably going to do it with a win here, and they might go to the relegation playoff. It's gonna be tough, really. I mean, if they they can't go to the relegation playoff because if they draw and Empoli wins, they are out of the relegation zone. So yeah, they got really 2 results out of 3 here to play for. Both teams to score 177.
What is Antonio Di Natale going to think about his Udinese? We saw them in the Champions League.
It's amazing to think how much they have achieved, how above the weight they punched.
And now what a great team.
Sanchez, yeah, of course.
With the Chilean army, also Isla, for instance, and Antonio Di Natale, what a legend. And now the club in the Friuli, in the cold Udine, could go to Serie B. Also was surprising, to be honest, at least for me, seeing Sassuolo relegated, a team that was playing also Europa League not long time ago. Danny, next game is Lazio Sassuolo. Sassuolo got relegated last weekend with the defeat 0-2 at home against Cagliari. Lazio will play Europa League. They drew with Inter, and I think they are getting a good finish with Tudor. Perhaps if he had arrived earlier, they could have done a better season. Who knows?
Absolutely. They're doing better. You can say there is a change in rhythm, in intensity, the way they press. Good game against Inter. They could have deserved even to go 2-0 up in the second half with Vecino, score a good goal with Kamada. Things are changing at Lazio. It's going to be a big summer of changes there under Tudor. I'm expecting a lot of over 30s players. Luis Alberto, of course, Felipe Anderson, already we know we're going to go to Brazil, and others, Immobile, to leave, to make way for younger players that probably are more suited to the football that Tudor wants to play. Sassuolo going down to Serie B after 11 years, a team that has been in decline this season. Change manager, didn't work out with the Ballardini, shipped far too many goals, lacked their main man Berardi, who got injured 3 times this season, and he wasn't there in the key moment of this season. But overall, a team too fragile, physically, mentally, let too many goals in, only 2 clean sheets kept, but surprisingly beat Inter twice, Juventus, Fiorentina. Really a mystery to be studied probably in universities. I'm not sure they're gonna go up straight away from Serie B. The Squincy family have invested a fair amount of money there, but it's always difficult to do football in the Italian province, not a strong fan base either. So yeah, I think it's been almost a miracle, comparable to Chievo Verona. You remember a few years ago when they went up, then had some financial issues, went down, and they almost disappeared now. Lazio Sassuolo for me is an under 3 goals, 206. I mean, again, nothing at stake here. Lazio will gonna win this probably easily, but don't trust the Asian handicap -2, -1. I said there is absolutely nothing at stake here. Probably one of the very low rhythm, low intensity game. 206, like the next one that we're gonna talk now.
Yeah, it's the last game of the weekend, not of the season, because after everything is over, the 2nd of June, we have Atalanta Fiorentina, and it's gonna be important. But Danny, the season ends, or at least in Oddspedia, with Verona Inter. Verona got safe, 3 wins in the last 5. They beat Salernitana away the last weekend. For Inter, a lot of news in the board. Danny, you have a new owner. It's not Chinese owned anymore, but American owned.
A hedge fund, an investment. Yeah, Oaktree, the fund who loaned Steven Zhang, the former Inter president, around 300 million with an interest rate of 15%. Not cheap, but still
Not
legal.
cheap.
No, but still legal. You can do that. Well, Zhang didn't.
A good amount of money to repay this.
Yes, it's quite a lot. Yes. Well, Zhang didn't return the money. Very simple as that. Didn't have the money to return. He was trying, Steven Zhang and Suning, the owner of Inter, to get another fund, American, this one called PIMCO, to take over and give the money. So it was a fund that was loaning money to another fund. There must have been some technicalities. I'm sorry, I haven't studied economy. Oaktree said no, and as it was written in the contract, they had the new owner of Inter. What does it gonna mean? Big question mark. They said they're not gonna be there just for the short term, but they see this as a medium long term investment that wants to keep obviously the sporting side very competitive alongside of the other sides of that business. It sounds like a bit gibberish to me. If Inter fans are wondering, is Lautaro contract gonna be renewed? Who's Lautaro going to find on the other side of the table when he had to negotiate his contract? That's a very difficult question, but continuity should be guaranteed in the terms of course, Simone Inzaghi contract will be extended. Marotta, the sporting director, is gonna stay at least for another week, for another year, hopefully, not week. And Inter, are gonna continue to do the same business and same market they've always done in the last season. So a net zero market, not overspend, try to stay, of course, in the parameter of the settlement agreement with UEFA. They can't spend too much. They cannot collect more debts. It's gonna be maybe a market of sacrifices with one or two big players leaving, but Inter have already started signing early the likes of Zielinski, the likes of Taremi, so they got a good advantage. And next season, of course, they're going to play in the World Cup, in the Club World Cup, which is going to bring them more revenues. Talking about this game, Verona-Inter, by the way, Verona saved. What an amazing season. What an achievement. Changed 12 players in January, brought in a lot of young players and managed to get saved. Credit to Marco Baroni. 2 saves back-to-back, 2 salvations back-to-back. First Lecce and now Verona. Totally deserved for the Cagliari. I don't think Inter are gonna go there a full throttle. There is absolutely nothing to play for unless one objective. Another clean sheet for Inter is the record ever, 22 clean sheets, equaling Juventus. So they will make history. Under 3 goals for me, 179. If Inter wins, is a 1-0 win. Don't expect fireworks, really.
Mr. Zhang is 32 years old, super young. He
looks Steven Zhang, 32 years.
He looks even younger. He looks 15. He looks like 25, 26, but he's super young, 32 years old. This business.
As an Inter fan, if you're Steven Zhang, if you're listening, probably you're not. Just thank you for what you've done. I think you've done everything you possibly could. He's won 2 Scudettos, took Inter to the Champions League final, and of course he trusted good people, the like of Piero Ausilio, Marotta, Inzaghi, and that's a big thing. When you're a manager, when you're a boss, you cannot do everything. You need to delegate, and if you choose the right people to do it, do so. And I think they took the right steps to keep Inter winning and sustainable, and they managed to do so. But there was no more they could do. Is the way it goes. And thank you to Steven Zhang and Forza Inter for the future.
And you can hire Daniele Fisichella as your next advisor, Mr. Zhang.
I don't know.
I'm
too much of a support.
And take
I'm too much of a supporter. I'm I'm afraid, Mr. Zhang or Mr. Oaktree. I don't think I'll be able to do the job properly.
Yeah, Mr. Florentino, I'm available.
Yes.
Well, this is it, Danny. We have another game, 2nd of June. As I said, if you want to know the tip, probably Danny Fisichella will post the tip in our tipster competition. Before we go for your safe bet and ACCA, also you have to know that we've launched our tipster competitions for the Euros and for the Copa America. So this summer we are gonna be working for you, of course, giving you the best videos about the Euros and Copa America, and you can participate for free and win Money, very good opportunity, of course. We all love to get as much money. It's not as much money as Mr. Sang, but still, you can buy.
No, as much as Oak Tree will need, but yeah,
okay.
you can contribute. You can contribute. Yes.
What is important is
Okay.
for free. Danny, your safe bet?
Milan Salernitana, Milan as an handicap -2.
And the ACCA?
I'm going to keep that for my ACCA, by the way. So it's Milan as an handicap -2, Empoli Roma double chance X2, Lazio Sassuolo under 3 goals. The odds are just above 7.
Danny, thank you. It's been a great season, learning a lot
for me as well. Thank you, Edu.
Italian Meister. Guys, thank you also for being there in our Italian shows. Bye-bye.